Hello everyone, back tuning into today's final video. So it's been a very busy day at GFS Ensembles today. Loads and loads of updates. Hope you've been enjoying them all. To finish off this Sunday evening, we are going to do Ensembles Watch. It's probably going to be the last Ensembles Watch of the season. So we normally rest these when we get into the spring and summer. Of course, spring and summer tends to be very busy with events and forecasts and things like that, things like Glastonbury and that sort of thing. So we tend to rest Ensembles Watch outside of the winter. It's the first day of mid-autumnal spring today, so I suspect this will be the last Ensemble Watch for a little while. But we will go through all members of the GFS Ensembles for you, including starting off with the operational run in a moment. We'll see what they're all showing for the first half of March, really. So just to say that the videos today have been coming thick and fast. We started off with the spring forecast. So because of his spring forecast is now out there and released. That video will be placed on the spring forecast page at GFS.com within the next hour or so, and then you will be able to watch the video on demand at website and at the YouTube channel and have a read of a written version of the forecast as well. GFS Sunday Roundup was released just after lunch. We had a little sneak peek for summer, as that's where the long-range bandwagon will now roll on to. Now the spring forecast is released. We'll be on to summer updates. Terry Scolling's March forecast has been released, and I say this is the last update of the day on Ensembles Watch. Hope you've been enjoying all of the updates. Don't forget to give us a like on the videos. Let us know that you've been enjoying them. Tell us through the comments what you think, and also, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel, then you'll be notified when we release content like this that you hopefully want to see. Right, so at westcentral.d, we're going to start off with the GFS midday operational run. So we're beginning in a week's time. So we're beginning on, that's not quite right, so let's go to there. We're beginning on Sunday, the 8th of March. So there we are, Sunday 8th of March, and we've got with this, because we're assuming that up to like a week out, the situation is broadly finalised, if you like. So there's no need to show weather between today and next weekend. So we're going to begin with all of these ensemble members in a week's time on Sunday the 8th of March. And as I say, we're beginning with the GFS operational run for Sunday the 8th of March. It also unsettled this. Low pressure is in from off the Atlantic. Let's see if there's any sign of some higher pressure beginning to take over, and this is what happens with the GFS operational run. So up towards day 10, it just keeps low pressure coming in from off the Atlantic. Actually, I have been suggesting some of the model output recently, but we might build up some higher pressure in the second week of March, but this looks like going to keep things pretty unsettled up to day 10. So that's how we look at day 10, which is Wednesday 11th of March. We've got low pressure to the north, high pressure to south, been the pattern of the winter still going on, still churning away there into the second week of March. And then moving up to the middle part of the month, this takes us to the 16th of March. Low pressure still powering in from off the Atlantic. So that's as far as we get to today for GFS run, Tuesday 17th of March. And low pressure is well and truly in control of the weather pattern. Winds are going to the northwest there a little bit as well. So not settling things down tonight with GFS operational run, actually keeping things quite unsettled right the way up to the middle of March now with this GFS operational run. Let's see how that compares to the GFS control run. So this is run at a slightly lower resolution compared to the operational run, but a higher resolution compared to all other ensemble members. We begin again in a week's time, Sunday 8th of March. Low pressure is in from off the Atlantic, so still unsettled up to next weekend. Let's see what it does after that. So we move up towards day 10 and we start to get this ridge building to the southwest. So we are having a go at building up the Azores High over France, but this area of low pressure is still powering in to the north. That's all associated with the polar vortex. Of course, we've had a very intense stratospheric polar vortex through this winter, and it's still churning away there. However, as we move beyond day 10, looks like we're starting to get some ridging then, starting or trying to develop to the south. It only lasts a day or two, and then we're back into into low pressure conditions again. So that also looking quite unsettled now for the second week of March, running up to the middle of the month. Not truly building up that ridge of high pressure. Even as we end that GFS control run on the 17th of March, we still have a broad pattern of high pressure to our south and low pressure up to the north. Looks like we're going to go a bit colder there as well. Maybe turning winds into the north if we could go out a little bit beyond that. Right, so this ensemble member number 1, looking unsettled next weekend, and as we go beyond that into the start of the following week, yes, low pressure is continuing to move in from off the Atlantic, heading up towards day 10, that's how we look, so high pressure to our south, low pressure up to the north. We get to day 10, and that's how things are looking. So again, still driving westerlies, a little bit closer with the ridge to the southwest. So that's trying to drive things out for the southwest of the country. It does make a little bit more of that ridge as we get up to around the 13th of March. We have got drier conditions for England and Wales, still a little bit on the unsettled side further north. Moving beyond that, we take high pressure out to our west and begin to turn winds into the north. So we've got a cold snap here for the middle of March with ensemble member number 1. A proper northerly blast there. Doesn't last all that long, but we do get a cold snap with ensemble member number 1 around the middle of March. Ensemble member number 2, again, low pressure is in control of the weather for next weekend, so unsettled for next weekend still. And as we move out beyond that, heading up towards day 10, we settle into this pattern of high pressure to the south and low pressure up to the north and the northwest. That's how we look at day 10. Again, rather showery with those northwesterly winds. Beyond day 10, still keeping things unsettled, low pressure continuing to move in from off the Atlantic. Does ensemble member number 2 ever build up any higher pressure? Let's have a look. No, it doesn't. It just keeps things very unsettled right away up to the middle of March. So these high pressure hints of the second week of March look like they're in trouble already with the GFS ensembles. We'll carry on and see if we can see any more signs of high pressure for the second week of March. So that's ensemble member number 3, looking very unsettled, maybe even stormy, or a little bit stormy for next weekend. Sunday 8th of March. We go beyond that and start to move up towards day 10, and then we try to generate a bit of a ridge to the southwest. So that's having a go at settling things down. Does turn things dry for England and Wales, still very unsettled further north though. Beyond that into a more extended range, ensemble member number 3 sort of tries to get us into a more settled spell of weather, but whether it ever truly comes to anything, a bit doubtful. I suppose for England and Wales it probably is a bit drier, but Scotland and Northern Ireland probably still quite unsettled even up to the middle of March. No mid-March cold snap with that one. Ensemble member number 4, again, looks quite unsettled, but not as stormy as number 3 for next weekend. Then we head up towards day 10. And we keep low pressure powering in from off the Atlantic. So certainly up to day 10, which is the 11th of March. Not really much sign of anything particularly settled appearing. Beyond day 10, that's how we look. So a bit of a northerly cold snap there. And then high pressure having a go at ridging in from the west. But actually the high is more or less centred to our west. So we bring down some colder air from the north. This has a bit of a mid-March cold snap as well with ensemble member number 4. But that is a more anticyclonic option. So that's probably the driest ensemble member that we've seen so far for the second week of March, albeit it's a bit cold. Ensemble member number 5 looks very unsettled for next weekend. Beyond that, yes, a little bit of a cold snap there around the 9th, 10th of March, heading up towards day 10. We get this ridge going. So this is building in high pressure for the second week of March. This first one we've seen that has us genuinely under an area of high pressure for the second week of March. A lot drier with that one. And moving up towards the middle part of March, that high pressure still sticking quite close to us. It does slip down towards France, but keeps England and Wales mainly dry and mild. That's a drier and milder option with ensemble member number 5 up to the middle of the month. Ensemble member number 6, again, quite unsettled for next weekend. And as we move out beyond that and head up towards day 10, again, we keep having low pressure powering in from off the Atlantic. So up to day 10, ensemble member number 6 is keeping things very unsettled. Heading into the extended range, again, keep these areas of low pressure coming, so this one never settles things down at all, and up to and beyond the middle of March. You get 17th of March, beyond mid-month, still very unsettled with low pressure dominating. So that suggests the chance of quite a wet March. Certainly wet first half to March on ensemble member number 6. Ensemble member number 7 is unsettled next weekend. And then beyond that, as we move up towards day 10, again, we tried to generate a ridge from the Azores high, but it is struggling as low pressure in the northern Atlantic is just so powerful and continues to be very powerful. So up to day 10, not really settling down. Beyond day 10, heading into the extended range again, we keep these areas of low pressure coming from off the Atlantic. With this one, though, we are bringing up a southerly wind, so it's turned very mild into the second half of the month, perhaps even quite warm, but it is still relatively unsettled with ensemble member number 7. Ensemble member number 8 is unsettled for next weekend. Low pressure is in control of weather. Beyond that, moving up towards day 10. This one's generating a bit of high pressure for England and Wales, so that one's having a go at turning us dry. And remember, ridge does build and extend through the second week of March. This is back to that idea that high pressure develops through the second week of March, settling things down. That's a nice ridge, breaking us out of the unsettled weather. It's under a bit of pressure, though, in towards middle part of the month, and we finish up looking like we're about to pull down a cold northerly. So that's hinting at going more unsettled around mid-March and possibly bringing us a cold snap for the middle of the month from the north. Ensemble member number 9 looks like that. In a week's time, not as unsettled as some of the model ensemble members, ensemble members that we've seen tonight have looked up to this point, but a little bit on the changeable side. Heading up towards day 10, again, high pressure is strengthening and building to our south. Low pressure is up to the north and to the northwest. This one's more anticyclonic, though, as well. So quite a nice dry period through the second week of March. That high pressure sticks close to western and southwestern parts of the country into the extended range. However, this is another one that looks like it's pulling off a cold snap for the middle of March. So we finish up by the 17th, taking the high up towards Greenland, having a go at putting down a proper cold northerly there with ensemble member number 9. Ensemble member number 10 unsettled for next weekend. Beyond that, moving up towards day 10. Again, setup is high pressure to the south, low pressure to the north. That's the kind of thing that we've had throughout winter. It is a little bit drier for England and Wales. The ridge has a go at developing, but doesn't really come to much. Low pressure just continues to roll in from off the Atlantic. And we finish up with ensemble member number 10 looking like we're putting down a colder northerly. So again, mid-month cold snap is hinted at with that one. Ensemble member number 11 looks very unsettled for next weekend and maybe relatively chilly as well. Moving up towards day 10, again, very unsettled weather. It continues with low pressure powering in from off the Atlantic. Beyond day 10, moving into the more extended range. Again, we keep these low pressures coming, so this one never settles things down. We finish up where we start, really. Low pressure still coming in off the Atlantic on the 17th March as far as we can go. Ensemble member number 12, very unsettled for next weekend. Beyond that, moving up towards day 10, we keep the low pressures coming. Actually hints at being quite stormy there at day 10 on the 11th of March. That looks quite stormy. The central pressure of that low looks like it's below 950 millibars. That's an intense area of low pressure. Maybe that would be Storm Ellen. Moving out beyond that, yes, bit of a cold snap from the north as we head up towards the middle part of the month, and then a ridge building in for the middle of March. So that does finally settle us down around the middle of the month. We get into higher pressure. Ensemble member number 13, very unsettled next weekend. And then beyond that, high pressure is ridging in as we move up towards day 10. So this is a drier ensemble member as we move up towards day 10. That turns us drier and it's relatively mild as well. High pressure is going up towards Scandinavia in the more extended range. Low pressure continuing to power in from off the Atlantic. So this is developing a battle with a Scandinavian high to our northeast and low pressure out to the northwest. Could be quite wet that with weather fronts from below pressure grinding to a halt over country as they come up against that Scandinavian high. And of course, if Scandinavian high were to win the battle, then we might get a cold easterly. Ensemble member number 14, again, very unsettled for next weekend. Beyond that, moving up towards day 10, we keep the low pressures coming. This is another one that's building high pressure over Scandinavia at day 10, so let's see what comes of that. So the low pressure begins to slip away, and this one does actually have a really good go at turning the wind into the east. Just doesn't quite pull it off, but that comes very, very close to bringing us an easterly. And eventually it does get the wind into the east by middle of the month. This is 17th of March. Winds have gone into the east, so we're putting in cold air from the east with ensemble member number 14. Loads of options on the table, you'll notice. And this is ensemble member number 15, looking very different as early as next weekend with this one. Low pressure is being blocked out to the southwest and heights are beginning to rise up to the northeast. Let's see what happens with this one. So we begin to move up towards day 10 if we can push things on. There we go. And so that attempt at Scandinavian high doesn't really come off as we move up towards day 10. Just keep low pressure powering in from off the Atlantic. Very unsettled, maybe even a bit stormy beyond day 10, going quite cold as well with winds swinging into the north. And that's how we look as we end on ensemble member number 15, a cold northerly setting in there through the middle part of the month. These are, from a cold perspective, these ensembles are probably more interesting than anything we've seen so far this winter. But the only snag, of course, is that we're into spring now. So I'm not sure we particularly want northerly or easterly winds being suggested. But of course, you do get a lot of easterly winds in spring anyway. It's the most easterly season. This one's on member number 16. Again, a bit of a Scandinavian high over Scandinavia on Sunday. Low pressure being blocked to some degree out to the west. That Scandinavian high attempt doesn't really come to anything. Moving up towards day 10, bringing in a very mild southwesterly, and the ridge is centred just to our east then. So the ridge sort of collapses Scandinavia into Germany, but bringing in a very mild southwesterly wind. Beyond that, we head into extended range, and this one isn't as unsettled as quite a few of the ensemble members that we've seen tonight. Does suggest a bit of a cold snap from the north, though, by the 17th of March. Ensemble member number 17, low pressure again dominating for next weekend. Moving up towards day 10, again keeping things unsettled up to day 10. Low pressure is continuing to power in from off the Atlantic and into extended range. Again, this one keeps things unsettled. Eventually starts to pull up a much milder southerly wind by the 17th of March. Ensemble member number 18 looks really unsettled for next weekend. Beyond that, we head up towards day 10, keep things unsettled, maybe hinting being a bit stormy, bit of a cold snap there at day 10 on the 11th of March. Beyond that, so low pressure just continues to be in control of the weather and suggests a bit of a cold snap maybe around the middle of the month. Ensemble member number 19 penultimately looks unsettled for next weekend, but not as unsettled as some of the ensemble members have been tonight for next weekend. Then high pressure begins to ridge up from the south. As we go into day 10, we are close to high pressure, ridging up from the south, trying to get itself up towards Scandinavia. That's actually a drier and very mild scenario there. Beyond that, we move into the extended range with ensemble member number 19, and high pressure is more dominant with this ensemble member compared to some that we have seen. So this is a drier option for the second week of March and moving to middle of the month. That's how we finish up. Looks like we're going to have a go at taking that high pressure to Greenland, maybe pulling down a cold northerly wind if we could go on any further. And then finally, we've got ensemble member number 20. Again, it looks unsettled for next weekend. Beyond that, high pressure builds up from the south, turns things mostly dry. And it's probably quite mild with that as well. High pressure then takes over into the more extended range, or certainly has a go at doing so. This is another one that's suggesting a chance of a cold snap, though, from the north around the middle of the month. This is 17th of March. Yes, another ensemble member with winds in from the north. The last thing we can look at is the upper air temperature graph to see how they're looking. Last place we looked on this was Manchester, so this is how things are looking in terms of the upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for Manchester tonight. So obviously the coming few days going to be quite cold. Then we lift the temperature up a little bit at the end of the week into the weekend. And then through the second week of March, that's this period up here, just here to the middle of the month, loads of scatter then. We have got some very mild ensemble members, as we saw. Some of those ensemble members are bringing up southwesterlies and southerlies. Quite a few of them are putting down cold northerlies, and one or two even have easterlies towards the end of the second week of March and into the middle of the month. So such a range of outcomes that there is obviously a lot of uncertainty beyond day 10. So that's it. That's Ensembles Watch done and dusted for you. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've enjoyed this season of Ensembles Watches. And as I say, we'll probably rest them now and begin to move on into towards spring and summer mode, which suggests more sort of events type updates and forecasts for bank holidays, events, and that kind of thing. But I hope you enjoyed this season of Ensembles Watches. Haven't been many to go at that have been pretty good for people who want cold and snow. Of course, it's been that sort of winter. It's been a very mild winter. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the Ensembles Watches that we have done through this season. Don't forget to check out the spring forecast and also all of the other updates that we've released today. Tomorrow, we're going to have a regular week to 10-day video update, and we may do the March forecast for GFS.com as well tomorrow. Right, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.